800 runners. And I would like to welcome all of you.
People who run a race like Tour de Géant are often asked why they do this. Many run for the challenge, to see if their body and mind are strong enough to go through it. Some are competitive and want to beat a certain time. Some do it for the fun, to be cheered by their friends. Or perhaps just to enjoy being on their own.
I found a lot of rubbish.
Some find motivation in helping a cause, a charity, something they think requires their maximum effort and will justify their pain while pushing their limits.
Go to too many pricks, Tegan's raise more money for them even though he doesn't have diabetes.
Others still see it as a spiritual journey and use it as a way to find inner peace through suffering. You can read 100 race reports that can give you the impression that this race is inevitably an incredible ordeal of suffering, damage, emotional torment.
It's like a gang of bikies has been beating my quads up with baseball bats. The funny thing is that means they would have shaved my balls and my legs as well.
A march through hell, and so on. And it can be.
So this is the steepest mountain of the whole course. Somewhere up there, there's going to be fixed ropes and bars, and everyone is just stuffed.
But it is, at least to some extent, a choice. Your choice. Choose running 339 kilometres in a continuous, single-stage race through Italy's Aosta Valley region, which is wedged up against France and Switzerland, passing close to the highest peaks in Europe, including Mont Blanc and Matterhorn. Choose going over 25 mountains more than 2,000 metres high. All this adds up to a total elevation gain of 31,000 metres. Choose running for most of the week, up to a maximum of 150 hours, which is a little more than 6 days. And you don't stop just because it got dark. Choose to be idiots.
We're idiots. Yeah.
Wear Legionnaire hats.
I know it looks stupid, but if you can't wear a Legionnaire hat climbing mountains, when can you? I mean, really.
Choose to be happy.
Happy place at the moment, the sun's out.
Excellent.
Or sometimes not so much.
Those mountains are still freaking torture. You go up and stuff aches and hurts. The stomach gets very tight because, you've just eaten and your pulse rate's up about a 165, so got no hope of digesting it properly.
Choose to be cheered up.
Bravo!
Or choose to carry on like a weeping sore. Choose to have support crew. Or not. Choose running whenever you can.
Run through the towns, she said. Run through the towns.
You stop running.
Because with all those steep mountains, plus time for eating, sleeping, changing clothes, and so on, you'll be shocked by how slow you progress.
It took a long time for that. That's a slow record. It's hard, isn't it?
Yeah.
So does it get any better or do you not?
To have a 30-kilometer downhill.
What?
Yeah, but it will be fun, I'm sure.
Choose trail. Road. Stairs. Boulder fields. Rocks. Cobblestones. And be staggered at how brutal the terrain can be. Choose chundering because that salami and tofungus cheese that's been out in the sun for hours and touched by 500 hands that wipe noses and maybe butts. It's so good when it's washed down with half a litre of warm Coke at 1800 metres altitude that you just have to experience it again, but in reverse direction.
Every day this has got a lot of creamy sauce in it. It's hard to digest. I deserve cannoli.
Or choose disappointment. Disappointment from your support, who have carefully sourced or prepared your food, but you eat too fast because you run too slow, so up it comes. This race can often look like an eating contest between the skinniest people with some running in between. Choose constipation because you're sticking to your single-day ultramarathon diet and avoiding fibre.
You haven't eaten shit, have you?
No, but I did a big one.
Where are we on the Bristol stool scale?
So your belly swells with twin bastards. You don't have time for this shit. Or any shit. The labour pains are incredible. When your poop babies are born, you'll name them Chiquito and Caca Chanel, or Crapley and Deuce if they're boys. Choose dehydration because you don't drink much anyway on your usual 4-hour runs.
Dehydration makes it hard to regulate your body temperature moving.
It could be.
Or you want to cut the weight you carry, and there are checkpoints with drinks at about every 7 kilometres. Besides, if you get thirsty, there are heaps of pools of water and run-off streams around, and that water couldn't have gone through that many cow pats, right? Choose headspins, nausea, and shortness of breath because you thought you would just adapt to the altitude after a day or two, somehow forgetting that you spend the vast bulk of your time in the race at 2,000 to 3,000 metres.
But I'm having some
Problems?
respiration.
I ran as well, and when that happens, I try to breathe in more than I breathe out.
Okay.
2,000 or 3,000 metres is not that high, at least not if your pulse rate is under 120. But at 150 plus, it's plenty high enough to knock you about.
I'm taking it easier because the sun is brutal, and just that little bit of extra altitude really makes it quite dizzying.
Choose freezing in the biting wind. That's no surprise because it's frigging September in an alpine region. But you thought the extra 175 grams of that microfleece and 200 grams of food bars was going to slow you down too much, especially since you didn't bother doing much strength training in the 2 years of prep for this race, because you just didn't feel like it.
Words of wisdom. If you're planning on doing a 338 kilometre run in very steep Italian mountains, I would recommend that you consider training for it.
As you can probably hear, the wind is strong as fuck.
Choose hypothermia because this business of putting clothes on and off all the time just gets a bit old and slows you down. Choose not letting the fear win.
The last mountain, you had to go along a ridgeline, and it was just terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
And then eventually they had a rope there, and the rope was actually free of one of the hooks. You can't even run properly because the path is just full of rocks, sharp rocks. Like my feet are a mess. I think we've gone to hell and back actually.
Choose managing the tiredness.
The shower. You have a tent just for yourself.
Well, not for long, I don't think.
Choose managing the injury.
Non avevo mai visto. But if the patella moves here, it tends to tighten the ITV.
There is rain, there is rain. There is not much you can do about it.
Però per poter drenare quando fa questo,
So it's going to drain when it does like that.
Or choose pusculent blisters that rip and develop into craters that feel like hot pokers stuck into your feet because ignorance is bliss. Choose limping because it's good training for your future career as a pimp, and because moisturizing and lubricating and taping feet is for pussies. Who has time for that crap at checkpoints? Choose going out in the middle of the night while your support crew worry about whether you'll be warm enough to go up a mountain in sub-zero temperatures.
Want a second bath? Scarf?
Gave me the second buff.
I want a third bath?
No.
Okay.
Look, if I need to, I will put my fleece on, okay?
Okay.
And my pants.
Stay warm, stay warm.
Choose losing all memory of great swathes of your privileged journey through a stunning part of the Alps because you sleepwalk through it.
I think that this morning I was walking through snow.
Choose running at nearly 30 degrees Celsius, sometimes after spending the night freezing at the top of a mountain with below zero temperatures. Worse still, this can happen after you've just run 30 kilometers downhill, dropping from 2,800 meters to 300 meters altitude. Choose endurance over speed in training, all the time, because you'll never have a need to rush to meet a cut-off time, or keep warm, or beat a storm to some shelter, or meet your support before your torch batteries run out. Until you do. Choose to accept that the weather will keep changing quickly while you move slowly.
The mountains that we could see before are now all covered in clouds.
You keep running through it all, through the heat, the cold, the wind, rain, fog.
Looks like it's fogged out, which is strange, because it wasn't like that last night, but it'll be good.
Hail, and the snow.
Raining on my legs, but not on my top half, because that's where the jacket is.
Choose buying new shoes during the race 10 minutes before the shop closes because your battered feet needed so much taping that you can't fit them back into your ultra running shoes, and they're already a bigger size than your normal shoes. Choose to stumble into new friendships.
Yes.
Choose to accept the devil, or at least be friendly with him so you don't make him angry. Choose to recharge your equipment, your body, and your spirits at the checkpoints, those magical places where time flies. Choose polenta, choose pasta, and whatever that is. Choose the wine, beer, or coffee for warmth, courage, or as a pick-me-up. Choose hallucinating instead of sleeping.
Tell me what you're saying that's not real.
Oh, it's like people over there and people over there. And...
Hey Tex, if you're out there hallucinating and shit, can you try and visualise like the Tat Lotto numbers or some shit?
Ooh, they might end up looking like fucking hamburgers.
Just don't be shocked when River Phoenix beckons you to follow him over the side of that drop-off.
I was having a really good climb.
Yep.
And then I started to fall asleep. And it stopped being a really good climb.
2,500 volunteers.
Choose meeting and chatting with the locals, because the memories you'll have for life are worth a lot more than the minutes or seconds you might lose of your race time. Choose to meet their pets. And their cheesemakers. Choose enjoying the good moments. Choose to embrace the serenity, the scenery, and the suck.
See people still coming down from that mountain. That's pretty vertical.
Choose smiling, or at least grinning like a loon, to convince yourself that you're still having fun.
You look good? You do?
You look good for a corpse.
Choose to show your emotions, because there's nothing more genuine and raw than what you're feeling right there and then.
I was an asshole to Kelly.
But you love her, and she loves you, and that's all that matters.
And I gave her a flower.
Choose accepting help when you need it.
Yeah, they just said, you were not responsive, so we had to bring you to the hospital. Because of my injury, my speed was really coming down, and then there's fatigue, and then there's, a lot of things.
Or choose chafing.
Feel fantastic.
Yep.
Aside from chafe.
Yes. Yes. Where is the chafe, we ask?
Choose crotch rot.
Wow, you don't smell like it, is?
Choose fatigue. Shit, have you ever been out on a trail for more than 8 hours? Just work it out. 6 days and 6 nights, and that can seem even longer when most runners average only 10 hours of sleep or less during the race.
Apparently this is trail running.
Yeah.
At its best, mate.
Potrei dormire un po' di più. Non devo dire alla moglie, se no si arrabbia, ragione.
È molto brutto. Molto tecnica las montanhas.
Mi sto riprendendo. Sono stanco però.
I'm glad to have that last one out of the way.
Yeah.
It was very steep.
Grande Thor, numero 1. È inspiegabile,
Sì.
totalizzante e disumano.
That last climb was fucking insane. It was like this.
Oh, Christ. Shit.
Just count on me, brother, when your face is...
Choose to accept that everything will bloat. Your face, your feet, your legs, even your ego. Unfortunately, 40 to 50% of the runners end up withdrawing from the race.
Come stai?
Male.
Male?
I finished my race.
Oh, what happened?
Tendinite.
Okay, sometimes it's not a choice. We all make mistakes, and sometimes circumstances get in the way, or our body rebels against us. But this is a sport about risk minimization. I've now met too many people who have come to this race twice and failed to finish, and my heart breaks for them. The sponsored runners who are doing races all the time and under pressure to perform, their need for speed might come before almost anything. For the rest of us, we just choose to finish. That's the important part.
Dominique.
And I chose to prove that you can do a race like this and still be well at the end. When you choose the Tour, you don't just choose a race, you choose an experience. You experience a people, a place, a culture, and a history rich in alpine trail running. It's not like you're running for your life. You choose to run to live.